third talk, but nobody submitted talks. So I decided that I myself will talk. uh, so how many of you know about Thoughtworks Tech Radar, technology radar? Can you raise your hand? Okay, there are a few hands. So I'm going to talk about it. So what it is about and why we publish it, etc., etc. So it is something that we publish every 6 months. So if you go to thoughtworks.com/radar, you will get to see that. Yeah. So basically, it's a medium with which we communicate or tell the world that what are the tools, techniques, languages, and platforms. These 4 items that we think are trending or that is going to be useful for customers, how they are useful, in what scenarios, etc., etc. So basically, this is like and it keeps changing, right? Things evolve, and these days, they evolve really rapid. So we publish it every 6 months. So we categorize them into these 4 quadrants. Like as I said, it's tools, techniques, platforms, languages, and frameworks. Say, for example, let's take languages and frameworks, right, which we can easily relate to. Like all these 4 quadrants are again have these 4 different areas, which is adopt, trial, assess, and hold. So we categorize them into these 4 different areas. And each item is in this radar is a blip, like a typical radar that you see in a whatever aircraft or a ship, right? So it's like it's actually based on that. It's named after that, right? So each segment actually has a meaning. Like adapt is something like we really recommend that if you are starting, if you are working or looking for options of a language, in this case, these are the language that we really recommend for the reasons that they actually fit for. It's not that we can use any language for any scenario, but if you're looking for language, for example, let's say you're looking for some front-end MVVM frameworks, right? So here we have listed Ember.js and React.js, right? Or so these are the frameworks or languages that we recommend, really considering if you're going to start. And so when we say we recommend, it's like you can right away get started with it, right? The next one is like I'll probably come from the other way then, like hold. Hold, the meaning of hold is something like if you're starting a new project, unless there is any compelling reason, please don't use any of these things, right? For example, in our current radar in languages, we have AngularJS 1. It's a controversial topic. I'll be very specific on this. And AngularJS 1, and there are reasons why we recommend to hold that. I mean, simple reason is like AngularJS 2 is out. So if you're starting a new project, you should start with AngularJS 2 or any of the other frameworks that we have recommended, but not AngularJS 1. And the other one is JS patch. There are a lot of items. We will not be going into these individual items in this talk. It's going to be going forever. We'll just give an introduction to what are the different areas, and then let you guys explore on your own. So that's about the hold region. So other 2 regions are assess and trial. So assess is something like it's like brand new. We started assessing it. We have some opinion about it. We have not really used it in any of our real use cases for a real customer, but something it's worth exploring. That is what we call put it into the assess segment. And then trial is something like okay, we are trying this out, but we don't know whether this will move into adopt or hold, but it's sort of in between. Like it's not as ready as the things in the adapt section, but it is worth trying out, right? So it's worth exploring or giving a more sincere thought to use that. So again, any items in a blip, right, or any blip in this radar will keep moving. It's not that they appear in any of the segment and will remain there itself. For the same reasons that I mentioned, right? Something will, no, ideally an item will start appearing in assets, and then either they will move closer towards to the center or move away, right? So that actually there are indications that you can get from this picture itself. If something is an arrow pointing up, right, that has moved. That's an indication that it has moved. Something that is in a circle, that means it has not changed. I mean, the change or the movement happens like across different versions of the tech radar. The current one is like published a month ago, or like 15-20 days ago. The previous one was published 6 months ago. So this is status across these two. And these blips also get faded away, right? Else there will be like languages, like tons of languages. If you want to put everything into this radar, it's not going to be enough. It's going to be a lot large. So once a blip gets stayed, once they don't move for 2 consecutive radar publishing versions, right? They fade away because we cannot accommodate everything here. But of course, you can. We have a history of our radars as well. You can go back to the previous version of radar and see what are the tools that were there in the previous radar. So this is like the previous version that was published 6 months ago. And we have a list of lists as well, so that you don't have to go across different versions to see. For example, if you have so we publish this. Why do we publish this, right? So basically, it's our opinion about a particular tool, right? If you want to know that, for example, let's take Babel, so which is like a popular tool for transpiling JavaScript. So this was it appeared in Adapt on November 2016, right? And if you go into that, you'll know the history of that. In fact, it appeared new in November 2016 and directly into Adapt, right? So it's a tool that we feel that it's very good to use, and you should really use it if you're writing JavaScript, so that you can write ES 2016 version of JavaScript, but still it can work with the old browsers or even modern browsers using this tool. Anyway, as I said, I will not go into the details of the individual items. So this is high level overview of what is tech radar and what it contains, how to read it. So basically, what I described is how to read it. But how do we actually collect it, right? Because the Thoughtworks we are spread across 17 or 18 countries. It keeps increasing every time we talk about it, so I cannot really tell how many number we are across 35 and odd offices. So we have a team of techies who are spread across these offices. They are called head of technologies or tech principals, and they get together every 6 months just to get this out, just to prepare this. So they collect this again from the individual offices of Thoughtworks that we have, and share this opinion among each other. They discuss, debate, fight why something should be in, why something should be out. For example, again for Angular 1, right, there is a huge debate that happened among Thoughtworkers to put them into folds. There are people supporting it and people opposing it, right? So we discuss that, and we treat that as a mechanism or a channel so that we can share our opinion and make it better, right? So that's the reason why we do it. So a lot of people actually who we talk to really like the way we come up with this radar and publish it, and they consume it. In fact, a lot of people wait for it and consume it. But apart from just consuming this radar, right, we recommend also one more thing, which is to build your own radar, right? You may not be able to relate to all these tools for your purpose or for your projects or your organization, because the context in which you operate might be different. It may not be same as what we operate, right? You might be building products in a particular segment. You might be building, operating in a segment where it's more closer to hardware, which Thoughtworks is not generally about, right? But we do work on some of the hardware items as well. So that's why, right? We recommend every organization to build your own radar, but by following the same mechanism of getting everybody's thoughts, sharing your opinion about what are the use cases, or why a tool should be used, or why a tool or language should not be used. Share this among yourselves, the techies, and build your own radar, and publish it too, right? So that people in your own segment can know what your organization is thinking, right? So in fact, in the recent version of Tech Radar, we even published a tool to build your own radar, so that it will make the job of building such a radar simple. I'll quickly go over it as well. Yeah. So it's as simple as that, creating a copy of this spreadsheet or building a spreadsheet like this. You list all the items that you have an opinion about, whether something that you use or that you want to use, right? And which quadrant it should be in, and which ring it should be in, whether adopt, trial, assess, etc., etc. And once you have that, you take the URL of this, go to this particular tool, and paste the URL, and click a button. Okay, thank you. There we go. So you get so we just now created a radar out of items that we had in the Excel sheet. Of course, you can do all the drill down with the individual items, etc., etc. So, and we recommend sharing this URL with your circle, right? So that you can voice out what you think about these tools. It's not just for publishing to the outside world, right? As I mentioned, radar has a history, right? You can compare across edition, the version of the Tech Radar, and this can be very good mechanism or a medium for communicating these trends within your organization as well. Say, as an organization, you are using tool X or language X, and you want to move to a language Y, right? As a thought or a vision, you can express that thought through Tech Radar. Like, if something is in trial, that's a way to encourage people in your organization to try it out, right? We internally in Thoughtworks we do, because not everybody can get to work with all these tools listed, right? It's going to be humongous list of items. So we use this tool internally to know that what are the tools that people around the world, Thoughtworkers, think they're useful and worth trying it out, and we take items from that list for our own exploration. We do that in groups, individually, etc., etc. There are different ways in which to. Yeah. So anyway, so that's like a quick introduction of Tech Radar. I kept it short because anyway, we're running out of time. We have one more talk to follow. Any questions? How do you come up with that Excel? So that's like mentioned, right? Like representatives from various offices, they get together once in 6 months with a list of items collected from the individual offices. Yeah, it's like they share those things among the group. Again, there might be conflicting opinions. There might be supporting opinions. They discuss, debate, vet it out in that process. I think they work on this for like 2-3 days, once in 6 months, right? To come up with this list every 6 months. Exactly. Yeah. Yes. Absolutely. I think more like more informed discussions happen, and able to get best out of it, right? So if Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So what's equally important is the process in which you generate it. As Prakash mentioned, it shouldn't be like one person decides and put it out, right? So then it's not going to reflect the voice of the organization. Cool. If there are no other questions, then we'll go for a short break. We'll group back in another 10 minutes for the next talk. Is it okay? Suddenly everybody is suddenly silent. I don't know whether it's a good thing or not. Sorry, I don't know. Videos about latest technology. If you look into the items of the tech radar, right, it's almost everything is like latest technology. Um, okay. Or like yeah. So we also have like I'll quickly come to that, but before that we have we categorize them into like high level themes. For example, for this radar, that high level themes are like one of the theme is like Docker and PaaS. Other one is like AI and intelligent empowerment. Like third one is team structuring, effective team structuring, and fourth one is like AR and VR, and there are videos about these ones, right? Short videos of people talking about these. These are like each one will be like 5 minutes or less than that. Like this, for every radar, there are certain themes that we identify based on the clusters of items that comes up in that particular radar, and there are videos about it. And of course, if you want to, if you're asking us to know opinion of Thoughtworks on these technologies, of course, a lot of Thoughtworkers speak in conferences as well, which will be mostly in the items from this, right? So based on whatever that they have worked on, it should be from this list of items. Cool. We'll take a break. We have some tea and samosa in the back.